Hello, everyone. My name is KJ, and I'm the host of Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. And today's video is a non-spoiler review for the new Star Wars series called Skeleton Crew. All 8 episodes are out now, available to watch on Disney Plus. It's a real good season, and it's easy to binge watch in one day or within a week, however long it take you. But again, this is a non-spoiler review, so this is for the people who may heard about it, seen the reviews, heard people just loving it, saying good things about it, and even saying bad things about it. Or this is for the people who haven't watched Star Wars in a very long time and maybe just want to get back into watching it, and they want to watch the latest one, what's new, what's going on, and you're not sure you want to watch Star Wars Skeleton Crew because it doesn't look familiar from maybe the OG Star Wars, or maybe from the last three films of the Star Wars saga. Well, let me be the one to convince you to check out Star Wars Skeleton Crew Season 1. So, again, this is a non-spoiler review. I'm going to put my helmet down. Big old helmet. And sit back, relax, and just check out my review. So let's go. Now, Star Wars Season 1 of Skeleton Crew. Let's just start with the plot. Now, if you're a fan of the Goonies, maybe old classic movies like The Little Rascal, or any type of pirate movies from Pirates of the Caribbean or Netflix or Hulu or any pirate show you have watched in your entire life, this is definitely a show you would like. There's this show, the plot of this too. If you watch any type of Peter Pan films or show, whether it's a Disney version or a non-Disney version, this show is definitely for you too as well. And here's why: because the ones that I just mentioned, for examples, Star Wars uses the writers for this show use that type of idea and format for the plot of this, but then added the classic Star Wars story to it. So there's a big mixture of it. It's one of those plots where you'll enjoy the ride of it. It's it's very simple, very easy to understand, and honestly, this is more different and unusual Star Wars content versus the ones they have made in the past and all the other Star Wars series that's on the Disney Plus. This one's different and they went a different route, but it makes it new and refreshing with this plot. And basically, it's about pirates. It's about the four main characters, which are children, who are trying to figure out what is life as they get ready to go into their adulthood. And one thing that I kind of don't like about it, but it's because it's a little confusing, is their age. They don't really put a stamp on it of where they're at, if they're high schoolers or maybe junior high schoolers. One can argue they're junior high school, but one could say, no, they're more like teenagers in high school, maybe their freshman year, and they're taking these tests to figure out what they're supposed to do in their adult lifehood as far as a job, right? But but it's not a big deal because you kind of forget about that part throughout this whole season, and that's not a big deal because that's not the important part of it. But it was just odd that they were acting like they're gonna start highlighting that in the first episode, but when you get to the second episode, they kind of just went a whole different route, which is fine. Like it's no big deal. But that was my only complaint about the plot. But another good thing about this plot is with the four main characters is you watch these kids again, they're trying to figure out what they're supposed to do in their life, and they all four have their own different struggles. Like example, Wim, he's a kid that he takes life serious, but not too serious. And in a Star Wars content, he's a kid who wants to grow up to be a Jedi, right? But then you have Fern, who comes from a family who is very about the rules, very strict, has a plan, but she's very rebellious against it. And she just finds it in her heart that that's not where her heart's at. And she's just looking for something different, something that makes her feel like this is her. This shows her identity as a person and who she wants to be in life. But then you have someone like Neil, who is an alien species who looks like a walking, talking elephant. And it has that Grogu, aka the Baby Yoda look, like the Groot, or Baby Groot, Teenage Groot, Adult Groot, the cuteness, right? And the CGI to that, and slash the VFX effect, sorry, is really good. I thought they really did the design to that character really well. And you can kind of tell they use some puppeteers a little bit with particular episodes, but then they CGI it a little bit to hide the extra stuff that they didn't want us to see behind the scenes wise. But really done well. And Neil's my favorite character out of this whole series. I like them all. I'm not saying they all are they suck or they're bad, but Neil's my favorite, and Neil's a character who is somebody who's very prepared, gets his homework done on time. He's book smart, and he follows the rules. He's like, no, no, this is wrong. We were supposed to do it this way. This is how we don't get in trouble, right? And then there's KB, who is half human, half droid, which is very cool. And she's not the only Star Wars character in that universe that's half human, half droid. And there's so much more like that in the Star Wars saga series. So she's not the first, but she's the youngest one we've seen in a long time, I would say. And her backstory is very interesting as well. She has a little bit of a mysterious background about her family and her past, which is very intriguing to the audience. So, you know, watching these characters, you know, get that harsh reality of what goes on in that Star Wars universe and how much shelter they have been. And they get a little scared. They get scared. Maybe they probably get a lot of trauma to see what's really out there when you see the dirty, evil pirates and the black market and the underground stuff. And then and with this plot, there's a lot of more secrets about the New Republican, and there's plot twist and unveiling new things and dark truth about the Star Wars universe, and there's so much going on. And what I like about this too is, and one more thing I'll mention about the plot is this plot teases a lot of potential of what could happen in future Star Wars projects. And that's definitely the hardcore fans of the Star Wars stuff will truly appreciate and get really exciting for. So that's what I would say about that. Now, let's just talk about the acting and the dialogue. I thought all the cast members, the actors and actresses did very well. They brought these characters to life, and a lot of them deserve their own spin-off, or maybe just another season 2 of Star Wars Skeleton Crew, where maybe season 2 we can focus more on on particular characters and their backstories, maybe have a flashback of their past even more. And I thought the main stars of this show did very well, and I would hope that they would keep using these particular actors and actresses to play the adult version of these characters. I think they really did well, and I want to see more of them. I think it would just not work if they recast these characters with different actors at a particular age, if they're going to do a 5-year gap or whatever. But you never know. I mean, but that's just how business works in the Hollywood business of acting, right? So there's that. But I thought, I think they all have potentials to do greater things in the Star Wars universe with these characters. So there's that. There's some actors on there and actresses that I didn't like, that I feel like they shouldn't have that much time on screen, but I'm not going to mention who, but you'll see. But nothing like I'm going to dwell on that. Now, the background and the scenery of space and other planets that you see, I thought was really cool. A lot of them was kind of dark and dim, but a lot of these planets you see are very poor, you know, third world type design, like Mad Max, and there's some planets that just look beautiful and bright colors and popping, and they're all rich with lots of money and, you know, spas and beautiful people just living the best life over there, and it looks really nice. And you got planets that just look like abandoned, which is, like abandoned temples or Roman Empire style. Like, it's really neat. Very well, and then, when they're in space, I thought the background to the galaxy looks amazing. It looks like Star Wars, and it definitely feels like a Star Wars series for sure. And I think that's the most important thing when you do Star Wars. You should definitely make it feel like Star Wars. Like, make it realize, like, yeah, even Darth Vader's not existing now, but his presence is still there. The effect of the evil empire have damaged the Star Wars, and the effect of what the Jedi's have done has affected everybody's life in some shape or form. I thought they did really well to imply that throughout all 8 episodes. So I'm loving that. I like that. Only thing I didn't like, some of the stuff was pretty wasn't great graphics, wasn't great CGI effects. But again, this is a Disney Plus series. The budget may not been that high. But it's not a big deal. Again, you make the best of it and you make it work. Just like that's what they're supposed to do. And I think they made the best of it and they made this show work so well. And I love it. Now let's talk about the ending of season 1. I think they left it on a good cliffhanger. But the one thing I didn't like about it was the cliffhanger is I feel like they didn't execute it right. And what I mean by that is I understand where they were going with it and it made sense. And if you watch this, you'll totally get it. But I feel like it was just the ride got a little bit of rough, hit a little bumps, look, it hit some potholes in there. But but it made it there. The point it made they made their point, so you can say, okay, this is what happens. You don't know where it's gonna go, but there's a lot of potential. But I didn't get the excitement from it, and that's why they didn't. I feel like it wasn't executed right because I feel like it wouldn't get you excited, but it had that Star Wars ending to it, as you can imagine, right? And I thought the villains and the main antagonisms were done very well. And I also just like where they're going with these particular characters. Now, there are some characters I wish they would use more, and I hope they do, but I feel like they won't. I think there's some characters on this show. I feel like the writers and the directors are gonna like not really focus on, and which is such a shame because these characters are really neat in the if you read the comic books or novelties or whatever or any of the cartoons. I feel like they won't focus on them, which is I get it. Like maybe that's not where their plans are, and that's not where they're going with it. But there is certain main villains that I just feel like please do not kill them off this quick. We need to see more of these characters. So you'll get a lot of that. And that's just one of my nitpicks about that is we shouldn't just kill off everybody. But I'm not telling you who's getting killed, but there's just some in some episodes that show up one time or two times in back to back episodes, and I feel like, man, this character, the hardcore Star Wars fans know what I'm talking about, and they're like, man, they should have just kept them a little bit longer because some of these characters come from the uncanon version of the Star Wars from the novelty books. Like just there's so many. I don't want to spoil it, but there's just so many that showed up in here. And again, but that's not a big deal. I expect that. Like, there's a reason why like these characters were uncanon and they don't fit the George Lucas or Disney version of this universe. So I totally get it, but really cool. I still like it. And do I think there should be a season two? 100%. Yes. Yes, there should. I think this is a great start to me, Star Wars Skeleton Crew season one. To me, reignition, the fire, the love, passion to be a Star Wars fan. I think the people who worked on this show got it right. And I would say this show is a little bit better than Boba Fett. And I would dare say better than the Mandalorian series to me. But I like the Boba Fett series, and I love the Mandalorian series. I want more of that too. And it was just fun. And what's really cool too is this you watch this whole season and you're looking it through the eyes through a child, a young kid, a young teenager. You know, they're trying to say we discovered something, and none of the adults believe the kids. They're like, "Shoot, kid, get lost." And it's one of those. So you're always going to be rooting for the the four main characters. I made sure. I hope that's four, but um, it makes you care, makes you want to root for them, and that's the most important thing to establish these characters and make people want more of these characters. You gotta help them. Gotta give them a reason why to care for these characters, and I feel like they did. They executed that 100% well, and it was just beautiful. And I love this series, so I definitely want to see more of this. So that's my that's my non-spoiler review. If I had to guess a 1 out of 10, I'd give it an 8. Really great, a lot of great potential. I think the mistakes they made in season one, if they just correct those in a season two, I think season two could top off season one for sure. But that's just my opinion. So that's it, y'all. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. Subscribe, hit that notification button so you can always be updated with all my latest content. Thank you guys, and peace